Great day out there today. Blustery win for our kickers. Good reps for us. Take any questions you may have.
Rich, Josh Jacobs was telling us that you played a big role in his decision to come here. What do you guys have in him from your experience with him?
Well, he's a unique personality. He's extremely bright. He's had so much adversity, as we all know about in his young life, that things that happen on the football field don't ever seem to amount to being a big deal to him. He's learned how to deal with adversity and overcome those sort of things, both in his personal life and certainly what he does on the football field. So he's a bright light, personality-wise. He loves football, and it shows in his actions. So we're certainly excited that he's part of what we're trying to do now.
You mentioned kicking with the win today. How do you work in 3 kickers?
They just work. They're all working every day. So one day we do 2, next day we do 1, next day we do 2, then we do 1, then we flipped it each week. So they're going against each other really on a daily basis. And it's been a good competition. I think they're all getting better. We were inside for the beginning part, so we've had some inside days, and now I think we've had 4 days of outside days. So hopefully it'll continue for a while.
How has Anders reacted to it, to having guys around him and just being in that competition?
Yeah, I think it's been good. I think it's been good for all 3. Body language is a big deal, and how you do react to certain situations. And they've all gone. One day it's been Jack and Honors, then it's been Greg and Honors, then it's been Jack and Greg, and so we're kind of doing it that way as well. And then we'll get into the final part, and we'll try to go every single day. I don't think we'll kick them 2 days in a row, but there might be one where we get them 2 days in a row. We don't usually do that. Right now they've gone through the same routine they've had in the off season, every other day. Same day we do it during the year. So I think the reactions have been good. It's all on film. It's all being graded. They know they're in a competition. I think they can feel that amongst themselves every day in practice. And it's been a good conversation with myself and
yeah. Do you think that you guys, Goody will take all 3 of those guys into training camp?
I don't know the answer to that. Might be those 3, might be 3 other ones. I don't know. Might be 6. So, but we're appreciative of certainly Brian getting it to the point that it's at right now with having a 3-man competition, and we'll see how long we can keep that going. And maybe the anticipation of even having, there's some things going on in a bunch of different leagues, right, that everyone's talking about, and so we're going to keep investigating to try to end up with the best player we possibly can.
And Rich, what time are you putting into the new kickoff play, and just your thoughts on getting adjusted to that?
Well, those are 2 totally separate questions. So we're putting a lot of work into the play itself, and we're trying to get some feedback from a lot of the players that have played the front line of kickoff return. That's basically what it's all going to be with those 10 guys up front, and what the drops would look like, what a slide block now looks like, or a sink block looks like, or some of those things. So we've had a lot of film on it as of late. It's been good. It's been good conversation back and forth with the players. So it's new for everyone. That's the good part. So we'll see what it's going to. We're not really sure what it's going to look like, right? And ours is a little bit different than the actual XFL because we have these 2 float players. So, and we have the ability to have 2 returners if we want, where the XFL just had 1 returner, and all 10 on both kickoff and kickoff return were on the same line. Now in the return game, we have the ability to have 2 float players, so I think it'll look a little different. Some people think it's going to be exciting. Some think it's going to be dull. I think we all have to wait and see, right? But the good part is, because of the proximity of the players, 5 to 6 yards apart, we can practice that a little bit different than we've practiced kickoff in the past. So I think hopefully that'll be advantageous to some of us.
You fall on the exciting or dull end of that spectrum in terms of your own personal?
Well, I think we have an exciting guy, so he makes it exciting, sometimes no matter what. But I think the exciting thing for us as coaches and for players that might be the bottom end of the 53, we didn't lose the play. So I think that's an exciting part, is that we still have the play. It's going to be a radical change. It's going to be the same for everyone. So I think how we approach it, right? The glass half full or half empty. In our opinion, it's half full. It's going to give guys a chance to keep playing kickoff and kickoff return, and we're going to do the best we can to be the best at it that we can be.
Rich, what did it mean to get Keisean back, and especially with a long-term kind of situation now with everything he's done?
Well, again, I think it's exciting for not only for him, but for organizationally, to get a guy that's done what he's done in the last 2 years and become the player he's become, and he's matured certainly as a person, and his role on defense seems to keep increasing each year. So I know he's in great shape. I know his hand, he went through that, and that's getting better. So I think we're looking forward to him hopefully having another good year. And I know the new defensive coaches like the way he works as well.
In terms of Anders' reaction, a lot of young players have to learn through adversity. What's the response you've seen from him?
From who, I'm sorry?
From Anders,
Okay.
since the end of this season, missing the kick, and just the response that you've seen.
I just think his response has been, work. It was that way during the year last year. He went through some of the ebbs and flows of kicks, and I think he's really been the same way. He's come back a little bit stronger in the offseason than he was, I think, a year ago. And I think at this point it's been a good competition. They've had their good days and bad days. There hasn't been a lot of bad. They've actually been kicking the last 4 days. They've kicked really well, all of them. So I think the reaction is probably more of a competitive mindset, a improvement mindset, and that's kind of what's been showing on the field.
How important is it to get Tyler Davis back, given the role he played on your units a couple of years ago?
Yeah, again, we're just excited not only for Tyler, but organizationally, to get him back and what he brings spirit-wise, what he brings energy-wise, and, his ability to play multiple positions for us in the kicking game. And I know they're excited about getting him back on offense as well.
Hey, Rich, going back to Keisean for a second. We know you have an affinity for him, even if sometimes he drives you a little bit crazy. When you look at the player he has become and the kind of home that he seems to have found, what's it like for you to just watch the maturation and the process he's gone through during your time here with him?
Yeah, I mean, let's put all the cards on the table. I absolutely adore Keisean Nixon. I have from the first day I went to pro day at South Carolina and watched him run. I think he ran 4.38. I mean, I went there to see somebody else, and he ran 4.38. And I talked to Clyde Wren, and he says, go talk to Will. And Muschamp was head coach at the time, who I've known, and he felt like he put him in a bad position. He moved him around, and whatever that's worth. And we ended up getting him as a free agent. But if you know his story, he's been to 4 high schools and junior college, and then his mom getting sick, and she fights the roller coaster of cancer up and down, and we go out to Vegas, and it's exciting for him, and she was as sick as she's ever been, So I seem to be making this answer long, but I love Keisean Nixon, and I also adore the player. Now that's the guy I get pissed at, and so. I get mad at 25, and I used to get mad at 22 and at the Raiders, but it's rare that I get mad at Keisean Nixon, who he is and the man he's developing into and the father that he is and I think the teammate, that he's become here. So I think it's a credit to Matt and the way Matt manages the team that, Keisean, I know he's said it many times, that I get to be me here. And I think that's a credit to Matt and how he deals with the players and how he deals with the locker room. And I think Keisean feels that he has a great relationship with our head coach, and he can visit with him, and he can be a leader in his own way. He doesn't have to be some sort of a robot or whatever that's expected. I think he can be himself, and that's accepted here. So I hope I answered your question, but yeah, I got an affinity for Keisean Nixon.
Some of those moments that you might get pissed at with the player, they're kind of important for his game. Like he's a fearless guy, right? We've seen that since
He is. Yeah.
How do you balance that?
Again, when you have the ball in your hand, which you're carrying the hopes and dreams of the entire team. So when you make an action like that happened to us in the Giant game, I know it affects him because he knows it affected the game, which affects his teammates, right? So, but part of his fearlessness is the good plays too. The really big plays that he makes, and you have to take the bad with the good, I guess. But there's a point when the decision-making process has to click for you, and you make the right decision for your team, right? It's not don't have to prove myself every single play. I think he's hopefully gotten to the point where he's proven that he can be an accomplished return player. Now make the decisions that fit exactly what we're trying to do in each individual game. So he's just the kind of guy that thinks he can score every time he touches it. And you don't want to take that away from him, but you want to get him to where he can make the right decision for all of us involved.
Hey, Rich, obviously signing Josh and signing Xavier was a really big deal, but you got Rochelle back, you got Christian Welch back, you got Eric Wilson back. How important were those maybe not as big a headline signings for you for getting your special teams where you want them?
Yeah, you know, where we want them, you know, and I think it's important, obviously, the way in which Brian views all of this and the conversations that we have, and then the part that, you know, Matt plays in what we're trying to do, how we're trying to, you know, set field position here for offense and for defense. So to get those particular guys back, we think is big for us. They've been in the system now going on anywhere from 2 to some of them into their 3rd year. So they're going to set the example of what it's supposed to look like, right? And, you know, we drafted a lot of young guys that play the linebacker position, play the safety position. We had skill players that we think can be viable candidates to help us early in the kicking game. So hopefully they'll get themselves in good enough shape to keep up with those guys that you mentioned, and then they'll set the example of what it's supposed to look like. So we are excited to get those guys back. You know, we kind of fought through this last year too. You know, those guys were on the street, and it seems like we're the only ones that seem to want them. But I'm real excited that they're back, and they do a really good job of getting in supreme physical condition and setting the example for everybody else of what it's supposed to look like. And they understand the importance of their job, you know, of their role.
Craig Joseph's had a pretty good career. How do you get a pretty good career up to that next level that you need to get him at?
You know, we're just trying to get him to be a little bit better, right? And he's been an indoor kicker now for a while, so being here is a little bit interesting. In our conversations with him, you know, he hasn't played well here. The 2 years I've been here, we blocked one, he's missed one, and so him playing in these conditions is a little bit different for him as well. He's got a tremendous leg. He's got a great mindset. So it's been a good competition to this point. We expect it to stay that way for as long as Brian keeps 3.
3 kickers, now 2 long snappers on the roster, just 1 punter. Is that an indication of just how pleased you are with Daniel?
Well, I think we're at the point where we haven't really found another punter just yet. You know, we had one in for mini camp, and Brian and I again have talked about possibly getting a workout, not only for punter but snapper and kicker as well. It's hard when you lose a snapper or you lose a kicker in a game, and all of a sudden you got to have a workout of 3 or 4 guys on a Tuesday, and okay, let's pick one for Sunday. Well, a lot of times, you know, Brian's done a good job bringing guys in here week after week so we can see them. So if you end up with an issue, okay, you've already seen 4 or 5 guys maybe a month ago or 2 months ago. So I think it's just an indicator of right now, roster-wise, we'd like to just go with 1 punter to this particular point. Now we'll see what happens at the end of OTAs and minicamp, and then what Brian would like to do going through training camp. But we'd love to have 2, 2, and 2 if we can to compete through camp, and also the way in which we work, especially for the snapper. It's a lot of work on him if there's only 1 of them. So,
Speaking of the snapper, I mean, I know he only had 2 days at the rookie camp, but he played at Wisconsin. Do you see him as a guy that potentially has what it takes to snap in this league, whether it's here or down the road?
yeah, we've done a lot of work on him. We like Peter, and I thought he did pretty good. You know, here he's got good size, he's athletic, he can move his feet. He's working on the velocity of his snap, but I do think he's going to have a chance and have an opportunity in the future to compete and play in the league. And we've had a bunch that have come through our training camps 2 years in a row, and then are playing on another team, or 1 year and playing on another team. So that's another position. You know, there's not a lot of them out there, especially now with the size that they can compete and protect those A gaps, you know. So we're excited about him being around Matt. I think Matt's really good. Thought he had a good year, and he's also improved, and he's gotten stronger. He's playing a lot of big games. He's won a Super Bowl. So hopefully he'll be a guy that can set the example of what that's supposed to look like as well.
For the return man on the new kickoff return rules, is there a punt return aspect to that with the defenders being so much closer?
Maybe, you know, maybe. Again, I'm not really 100% sure. We actually, at the punt, you're engaging a guy actually behind the line of scrimmage, and then you're trying to beat that guy so you get by him pretty quick, and then he's kind of playing next to you. This is it's a burst, and then you got a shock, and then you got to find a way to disengage. And if you just happen to peek the wrong way and the ball gets kicked too wide, that thing could be gone, you know. It's an old-fashioned 3 versus 3 drill, we used to call Oklahoma drill. And so we're trying to figure out where we're going to put the ball, how deep you can get it. If it's short of the 20, it's going to the 40. If it's in the end zone, it's going to the 30. I'm glad I got Byron because I can't remember all the rules, you know. So we're just, again, it's going to be trial and error, and hopefully we'll practice it enough to be on the good side of it, you know. But it could be looked at that way to some degree, yes.
Rich, all kidding aside, like, is it kind of crazy to have coached as long as you have, and to have something like this that it's just totally new? And is it better than the alternative, which was that the kickoff was going the way of the White Buffalo and they were almost phasing it out of the game? Like, is it invigorating to try and figure something out? Is it frustrating to figure this out? Is it challenging? And are you just glad that in some form or fashion the play is still in the game?
I mean, you're an amazing person. You know that, don't you? So, but I mean, it's really all of the above. I mean, you asked and answered I guess from my perspective, the whole question. Going all the way back to the rule, I was really excited and proud to be a part of Mark Murphy and Matt LaFleur voting no from the perspective that I have as a special teams coach for a long time. So I was excited for that. We had a lot of conversations about it, them going into the meeting. So being a longtime coach, I loved kickoff. It's one of my favorite plays, and the ability of becomes a three-level defense. Your speed players, your read players, and your fit players. I just loved all that. And when there's a great return, and it's a double team and a kick out, and it looks like a power play on offense, and and you see that hole open up, and it's a wonderful play. So all that being said, I do miss all that. I miss the practices of how that's being practiced and how that's being facilitated from the return portion of it, and what it did for, to a certain degree, bottom-level players on a 53-man roster were able to make a living for a long time. Okay, so that all being said, I am excited about the new part because it's just part of our personality. I am glad that the play is still in the game, right? We're not losing the play, so hopefully we're not going to lose those players. You're not going to lose your livelihood as a coach. So I am excited about the play, and it's radical. So let's see how good we all are, right? We're all doing the same thing, and let's see, what it's going to look like as time goes on. So hope that answered your question. But to all of that, I'm glad to still have a job, and we're trying to make it as exciting as we can for both ends. It's going to be, and we're getting a lot of feedback from the players, really. We're asking them to get in a certain position. I'm like, tell me how you can get to that position. We used to think you can get your job done. So we'll see.
You mentioned the no vote. From the outside, it would seem obvious that you would have some input with that because of your wealth of experience in this league before Mark goes. And is that a fair assessment, or did you have some input on?
Well, I think all the teams around the league, the special teams coaches have gotten together multiple times. So we've all had input. But again, we had a lot of conversations with myself and Mark and Matt, and I think they all understood what was going on. I think that we had some other thoughts that we could have possibly done, maybe to pre-limit and then maybe make a decision. But again, it's in. We're excited about it. We're going to work our butt off, see how good we can get at it.